How have data centers become strategic infrastructure? Throughout the 20th century, when we thought about a nation's strategic infrastructure, we typically thought of seaports, airports, highways, and power grids. These were the foundations that enabled goods, people, and energy to move. But as we enter the digital age, a new form of infrastructure is emerging with an equally critical role: data centers. At first glance, a data center may appear to be nothing more than a building filled with servers. There are no production lines, no shipping containers, no smokestacks. Yet behind those walls, a significant portion of the world's digital economy is being powered. Every time you send an email, make a banking transaction, stream a movie, upload a photo to the cloud, or ask an AI a question, the underlying data is processed through data centers. This means data centers do far more than store information. They provide the computing capacity that powers the digital economy. Just as power plants generate electricity, data centers generate computing capacity. And in the age of AI, that computing capacity is becoming a strategic resource. What makes data centers particularly important is not only their technology, but also their position within the broader economic value chain. A country with strong digital infrastructure can attract technology companies, expand digital services, foster innovation, and strengthen its global competitiveness. By contrast, countries that rely heavily on data infrastructure located elsewhere may also become dependent on external infrastructure for critical economic activities. That is why an increasing number of governments are treating data centers as part of national strategic infrastructure, not only to support businesses, but also to strengthen data sovereignty, cybersecurity, and the long-term development of the digital economy. The nature of global competition is changing as a result. Countries are no longer competing only to attract manufacturing plants. They are increasingly competing to attract large-scale data centers, and that requires far more than available land. A modern data center needs reliable and resilient power, high-capacity fiber optic connectivity, efficient cooling systems, highly skilled technical talent, a transparent and supportive investment environment, the ability to scale over the long term. In other words, building a data center is not simply about constructing a facility. It means building an entire infrastructure ecosystem around it. For the energy industry, the rise of data centers is also creating a major shift. Traditionally, electricity demand was driven primarily by industrial production and residential consumption. Today, digital infrastructure is becoming one of the fastest-growing sources of electricity demand. A data center does not simply require large amounts of power. It requires power that is continuous, reliable, resilient, and high quality. This is driving greater demand for smart grid technologies, battery energy storage systems, BESS, renewable energy, advanced energy management systems. In many ways, data centers are becoming a catalyst for innovation across the power sector itself. For Vietnam, this represents a significant opportunity. The country's digital transformation is accelerating. Demand for AI, cloud computing, and digital services continues to grow. Technology companies and international investors are increasingly looking for markets capable of supporting long-term digital infrastructure development. If Vietnam can continue strengthening its power system, telecommunications infrastructure, and investment environment, data centers could become a new driver of economic growth. This is not simply a technology story. It is a story about energy, infrastructure, and national competitiveness. In the 21st century, data is increasingly becoming a strategic resource, one that can be as important to economic development as energy and other critical resources. And data centers are where that resource is stored, processed, and transformed into economic value. The countries that make the right investments in digital infrastructure today will be better positioned to lead the digital economy of tomorrow. But if data centers have become strategic infrastructure, another question naturally follows. Why are technology companies, infrastructure investors, and governments around the world willing to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in